Okay, abusua yɛbɛma kɔ aba sonko so ɛde ba Ghana Politics Avenue so abusua yɛmbonwura ɛyɛ yɛn nsɛm mu abusua Ken Ofori Atta ne ho latest update ɛna yɛgu so ɛde ɛbrɛ mu USA Supreme Court declined to hear Ofori Atta's case abusua asɛm aba Ken Ofori Atta ɔno mmerɛ bi Attorney General ɛbɛka kyerɛ yɛ sɛ Ken Ofori Atta akɔ high ɛyɛ top experience lawyers abusua saa lawyers kokuda ɛna no adakra no obo bi din John Ashcroft or say saa lawyer yi ɔyɛ former USA Attorney General ɔno ɛne ebimo ɛna kyerɛ 13 lawyers ɛna wakɔ high na abusua Ken Ofori Atta ne case na yeso kokɔ pimo court na enam sɛ owo sika yes in the case no on percent will be channel and called the Paku our USA Supreme Court. Amasisia Supreme Court no or more a decline in the case na or more chest massa or no yem pewenim cry there. Ashe Asisia and one sema. Bawumia corner young conqueti and sema a course so unsubscribe here. Subscribe like and share ma Afro so and sa into me and kebi. Aha hey Ghana Politics Avenue so and don't forget to click on the notification bell so that any updates be able to drop
How long does it take for a case like this to be resolved, to be had and resolved?
As I said, it's possible that his legal team could look for all sorts of ways to keep him in the country.
Okay.
If they file the writ of habeas corpus, that would be heard by a federal judge here in U.S. Okay, if he fails at that level, and I'll be honest, as I said, he's not your ordinary, ordinary detainee. It's possible then he'll ask his lawyers to appeal that, right, to the federal appeals court, and barring that, he could also ask them to appeal it up to the U.S. Supreme Court. Now, that's not to say the U.S. Supreme Court would necessarily accept to hear his case. Okay, they could decline to hear his case, but nevertheless, that would be more time that he would buy for himself. Yes.
And spare a few moments to talk to me about the Current Detention Center. I don't know if you've been there before representing the clans. What are the conditions there?
I think in the beginning of your show, I saw when
the pictures,
you were showing people. I would say currently the detention center is not any place that anyone would want to be. Under normal conditions, and especially now with the ramp up in deportations here from the United States, really the detention centers, they are overcrowded. It's said, 2 people in a room. Quite honestly, it could end up more than, 2 detainees in a room. Now, to say this, as His Excellency, the Ambassador has stated, it seems that ICE is aware that Mr. Ofori Atta is, a special case. Right. And so it's quite possible that, he may be given special treatment that your ordinary detainee is not afforded. So it's quite possible that if they are aware, that he's a special case, that he could get better accommodations than what is normal, which right now are, overcrowded conditions.
Overcrowded conditions. And the data last year, I noticed that some actually filed petitions about, particularly the Current Detention Center. There's another one, I think Farmville, also in Virginia. 2 of them had issues around what you're just talking about, the overcrowding that they had seen there. Janelle, please stay with me. I want to take a quick break. When I return, Ambassador Victor Smith will talk to me about, well, the Ofori Atta case isn't the only case that he's had to deal with. PM Express tonight. Victor Smith is the Ghana ambassador to the U.S. Also, Janelle Oklu is a U.S. immigration lawyer who also joined us with some really fascinating, deep insight into what may or may not happen to Kenneth Atta in the U.S. now that he is in detention. He's also given us an insight into the conditions under which he may be kept currently at the Carolina Detention Center. It says it's, and the data actually backs that up, it's overflowing, it's at overcapacity currently, and because of the Trump's crackdown, fundamentally, and that's not a place that anybody would like to stay, but maybe his profile may exclude him from staying in the same circumstances as all the other detainees there. And I'm talking about detainees. I want to bring in Victor Smith. Mr. Smith, talking about what you're dealing with currently, because we know that across the length and breadth of the United States, ICE agents are raiding homes and arresting foreigners they suspect or have evidence to support their case that they may be there illegally. We understand that many of them are Ghanaians and may have been already been arrested and are in detention. The last time we checked, I believe it was 166, we're told, who may be in this particular category. Can you please update us on the number of Ghanaians who may find themselves in the same soup as Kenneth Atta?
Well, thank you. The last time I was told about numbers by the ICE was 193. I got about 193 at that time. I don't know whether in between they've sort of shipped out some of them already. So definitely less than 200 are in detention, but in different parts of the United States. When I visited Pennsylvania, I went to the detention center a couple of days before Christmas. I think I saw 11 of them there. And I had the opportunity to chat with them. That particular detention center was not overcrowded as such, but in a dormitory setting, you would say they had about 12 people in like a cubicle with the bunk beds, and you could see their showers and their WCs from where I was standing. I was not in there, but I could see through the glass door, and they were all sitting, around and having lunch at the time. So it's not a pleasant thing for our former minister to be in a situation like this, but they do not deal with people on status basis in terms of status in life, except where you have a communicable disease or you're violent. Then they isolate you. That is what the ICE people told us. Otherwise, every detainee is held under the same conditions, except where you have the problem, have a disease or something. And then, of course, we were taken to the hospital. They had a clinic, let me put it as a clinic, a small hospital within the facility. And some of the patients were being looked after. Everywhere was clean, as it could possibly, be. I've been to Ghana's prisons in Nsawam, if I may do that comparison. This is a very clean environment to make sure that people don't run into diseases. But it's still a detention center. I think it was an old prison, but it's a new facility. Everything's quite modern. And I had the opportunity to sit and chat with the detainees. Most of them were undocumented. Unfortunately, almost all of them, about 10 of them were undocumented. But they were fighting their cases. They had lawyers and things going in. So some had been there for 10 months.
Wow.
They were fighting their cases, So what could one do? They didn't have documents to show that they're from Ghana. They said that they spoke Cree with us. But, of course, the American, those who were supervising or policing us, if I may put it that way, did not understand what we were talking. So we let them to fight their cases. They want to be left alone to fight their cases. They didn't complain of being maltreated or anything. They said that they want to fight their cases and remain in the United States. They didn't know how they're going to do that, actually.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, we sort of encourage them, reassure them about developments at home. We told them there were opportunities being put in place by the current administration. It was possible if they came back, they can start life afresh. There were big opportunities with the 24-hour economy and all that to get them jobs and bigger opportunities for them to eventually one day when they are self-sufficient to be able to travel back into the States or visit the States or any other country for that matter. We give them some words of, if you like, consolation.
And the 190, almost 200 cases, are any of them nearing conclusion? And should we expect any deportation anytime soon this year? Do you have any information?
Oh, yeah. They've been doing it. And once they establish that they're Ghanaians, sometimes they make us interview some of them. And if we establish that they're Ghanaians, then they are on their way out. Okay. Because they don't survive in front of the judge. There is nothing else for you to remain here. Because first of all, you're undocumented. So they're not able to even establish when you came into the country. And some of them told us, the unapproved routes that were used to enter the U.S. and all that. You can tell they are hustlers, these ones. But there are some too who may have fallen foul of the law for one reason or the other. In the case of, I haven't been to that current Caroline Detention Center, not yet. At the time that I was looking for one of them places to go to, this was not mentioned to me, so I had to go to Pennsylvania to do that. Our current VIP being held by the ICE people, that is the former minister. Unfortunately, in my opinion, I don't know what case they're going to try and bring before the judge. But if it's going to just be immigration trying to change status, I don't hold much hope for him in that respect. But once the FBI involved, there's a strong possibility that the government of the United States appreciate where Ghana government is coming from. They appreciate that ours is a law-abiding country and that he'll be given a fair trial with the charges and they brought against him. So I suspect strongly he should man it up. He should go face them, tell them what he knows, tell them the truth. The truth might set him free. You never know. Not all charges might stick. This is my only advice if I ever had the opportunity to sit with him. Hanging around here and being kept in the cells, it's not on. I mean, he's bigger than that.
And Janelle, on the bigger picture of the other Ghanaians in that same situation, we just heard that from the ambassador talk about the many Ghanaians. In some cases, they've been fighting for 8 months. And I retorted because it just gives you a picture of this is not an open and shut matter at all. I mean, some people are painted it as if this is possibly going to be resolved very soon. If one ordinary undocumented Ghanaian could try his case for 8 months, you could actually now begin to appreciate that kind of Reata with this super team of lawyers could do even longer, right? And then it comes down to the conditions under which it's been held, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, clearly, on a bigger picture, when you look at the big picture there, some national to national conversation needs to happen, just to the point of how the individuals are being kept in the detention centers. You talked about the overcrowding and the humanity and the dignity with which they are being treated. From what you know, is this something that can be an issue? And should the government of Ghana representatives do more?
I'll say this. I think that His Excellency, the ambassador, he is doing for the Ghanaians who are currently being detained. He spoke himself that he went to visit some of them before Christmas. Now, for each case, I know that we'll say, oh, 166 Ghanaians, but these are individual cases, right? Each case with its own set of facts. Everybody is an individual. Everybody's case is unique. How they got to the United States and how it is that they ended up in detention. For some of the people who are in detention, it's possible that they have outstanding deportation orders from before. As I mentioned, once you are in detention and you get your opportunity before the immigration judge, there are various what we call avenues of relief. That's basically various reasons of defense, like why should the judge allow you to remain in the United States? And there are so many different reasons. You know, it's quite possible some of these 166 Ghanaians, some of them could say, oh, you know, I'm married to a United States citizen. Okay, my U.S. citizen spouse has filed for me. Some of that, so there are a whole variety of reasons. You know, I can't comment on the whole group of them, but I would say that His Excellency Ambassador Smith certainly, yes, he has you know, let the Ghanaians know that the Ghana Embassy is there to provide consular services to them. But one thing that has to be noted is consular services is not, you know, legal defense, right? Yeah. They each have to get their own lawyer if what they are looking for is legal defense to remain in the country. And just as you've stated, you know, everybody is unique. For some of these people, you know, a quick, you know, return to Ghana may be better for them. Some people may determine that, you know, no matter what, they are going to fight until the very end to try to remain in the United States. You know, everybody's case is unique. Everybody's life situation is unique.
Okay, abusua we ne ensema ekoso our political highway so Ken Ofori Atta and ayede in the honsem eguso edebrema enye asem ketwa kra abusua on click on notification bell na click on the notification bell so na we are any update be ebe drop no wonso wonsa ebe to me akabi any latest update on Ken Ofori Atta biano abusua aha Ghana politics avenue yaje emre say yede bebrem mon subscribe like and share my front so answer into me and Kevin.